Hello, welcome. So, our focus today is pitch matching, matching pitch. And what I mean by that is your ability to hear a pitch. And pitch, by the way, just means the highness or lowness of a note. Notes have both rhythm or duration and pitch, meaning highness or lowness. And when we talk about pitch, we can sometimes be very specific. So, we can say that a pitch's frequency is, for example, 440 hertz. Or we can say that a pitch's letter name is A. Or we can say the pitch's letter name and octave number, that's A4. So you might hear all of these different terms thrown around, but just know that pitch refers to the highness or lowness of a note. So I might be using the words note and pitch interchangeably today. Um, Pitch matching or matching pitch means you're able to hear a pitch and reproduce it close to exactly. So here's an example. If I am matching the pitch, here's an example if I am not matching the pitch. Ooh. And notice that doesn't sound bad. I'm kind of just singing a harmony, but I'm not matching the pitch. Ooh. We wouldn't even really call it pitch matching if I was one octave too low or high. So if I sang ooh, I'm what we'd call one octave or 8 steps away, essentially, from the correct pitch. So pitch matching is exactly the pitch that you hear, being able to reproduce it. How do you know if you're matching pitch without a teacher there or an experienced singer to tell you, yes, you're matching that pitch? You can rely on a chromatic tuner to be your friend and guide. And I always recommend this one, tuner.ninja, because you don't need to download anything for it, which is a plus for me. There are better chromatic tuning apps that you can for sure try out, look into. But just for today, go to tuner.ninja, give it access to your microphone, and I will tell you what pitches we're matching as we go along. The one caveat I'll say is since I don't know your vocal range or voice type, in order to serve the most students, I'll be playing in 2 octaves. So fire up tuner.ninja, give it access to your microphone. The best case scenario would be that you have headphones. So you're listening to me in your headphones, and then your microphone on your device, whether you're watching on a laptop or whatever, the microphone on your device is only picking up and analyzing your voice. It will not be as helpful if you just have it coming out of your speakers and then you're using tuner.ninja because it's analyzing the pitch coming from me. So we want it to just be analyzing your pitch. If you don't have headphones, that's okay. I will pause so that there will be a little delay between me playing a pitch and then you matching it. So, what I was saying before, in order to serve the greatest amount of students, I'm going to play in 2 different octaves. That sounds like this. I'm going to play both C4 and C3. So, if you have a voice like mine, you'd probably choose the higher option. If you have a voice deeper than mine, you would choose the lower option, probably. But you are welcome to jump around. If it ever gets too high or low for you, try a different octave. So, first up, we're just going to try matching a single pitch and seeing how you do. Um, I'm choosing that starting note, C4. And by the way, if you do have tuner.ninja up and you try to sing that and you've given it permission to access your microphone, then it will show you what you're actually singing. So give that a try. Here's the pitch. If you're not using headphones, you'll see C4 pop up on tuner.ninja. And now I'll play C3. And I'll play them together. As I'm playing them together, I'm not sure what Tuner Ninja would analyze, what it would say. If you're here live, you can tell me in the comments, is it picking up C4 or C3? Okay. Either way, here are the steps we're going to follow. And we're starting really, really easy, and we'll just get more difficult as we go along. is just humming that pitch, just humming. So I'm going to play it and I want you to be patient. I'm going to play the pitch. I want you to listen to it, then sing it in your head, and then hum it aloud. So that's going to look like this. Listen. Mm. And then you're humming, and Tuner Ninja is telling you how close you are to that pitch. Again, try it on that single pitch. This is C4 or C3 that you're singing. Listen, sing in your head, then hum aloud. Once more. This pitch right here should be pretty comfortable. It should not feel too high or too low. It might feel low if you have a very high voice, but most people will be pretty comfortable there. We're going to walk up to another pitch. This one is called C sharp or D flat. And again, here's C sharp or D flat 4. Here's C sharp or D flat 3. I'm playing the single pitch, you're listening, then singing in your head, then humming aloud. Try again. What to do if you are nowhere near that pitch? Figure out the pitch that you are singing. Again, tuner.ninja is going to tell you. So here's an example. Let's say I'm trying to match this pitch and I'm going, I am not singing the correct pitch. I'm not matching pitch here. So what do? I identify the pitch that I am singing, and let's fire up tuner.ninja. I'm singing C4, but remember our goal pitch is C sharp or D flat 4. So that gives me the direction my voice should go. Again, looking on tuner.ninja, I see I see C, and I see that C sharp or D flat is directly to the right. Whether we're on a keyboard or using a tuner like this, to the right means, and sorry if my image is mirrored or flipped, to the right means higher, to the left means lower. So in this instance, if I'm singing a C and I want to sing a C sharp, I need to move my pitch up, meaning sing higher. So if this is where I am, and this is where I want to be, I'll try to sing a little bit higher. If that doesn't work, I'm going to slide. Until I hear it join the pitch that I'm playing, my goal pitch. If I'm way off, it might be a little bit more difficult to tell on the tuner what direction I should go. So for example, let's say I have C sharp and I am singing way too low. Let's see, I'm going now that pitch right there, I'm using the tuner to tell me is G sharp 3 or A flat 3. Is it obvious which way to go? If you know the musical alphabet well, yes. But if you don't know the musical alphabet well, that's kind of hard to tell using this tuner. Should I sing higher or should I sing lower? And maybe your ear is good enough to tell you is lower than that goal pitch. But let's get another resource going. This one, and if you've been to any of these, you're probably familiar with both of these resources. Again, there are better apps out there, but these I just use because you don't need to download anything. So the second link I just put in the live chat is virtualpiano.net. You can just close out whatever that first kind of window is. And then I'm also going to type instructions. Key assist, note labels on. Because if you don't click those, then all you're looking at is a keyboard with letters on it, but the letters are like keyboard letters, not piano keyboard letters. So click Key Assist, and then where you see note labels, turn them on. And now we have a much more helpful keyboard situation. We also have much more help if, let's say, my goal pitch is C sharp 4, and now you can locate that on the keyboard, or if I'm a low voice, C sharp 3. And let's say I'm singing way too low and I figure out using the tuner that I was singing G sharp 3 or G sharp 2 instead. Now I have a direction in which to sing. So I'm playing C sharp 4, I'm singing G sharp 3. And now by looking on the keyboard, I can see, I am way too low. I'm significantly lower than that pitch. You might be tempted in this circumstance to start jumping around randomly and going, ah, ah, ah. Okay, I don't recommend that. I recommend sliding because you will hear when you come in line with that pitch. So I'm going to do that and see if you can hear when I come in line or join C sharp 4. I'll keep re-articulating C sharp 4 just in case it goes away since I don't have a pedal today. You could hear I was getting closer to the note and then I officially joined it. If you're a beginner at this, you might go past the note. You might go, and now you're too high. So one of the skills worth working on, which you could do with an app like Sing True, is one. So I'm going to write that down. Sing True is the skill of being able to tell if two pitches, basically the relationship between two pitches. So if I play, for example, can you tell that the second pitch I played was higher? If not, that's a skill to work on separately, probably even before you do all this pitch matching stuff. But you don't need to go away. But do look at Sing True, other ear training apps like that will help you and give you some guidance on being able to differentiate and distinguish between two pitches. Are they the same or are they different? And then if they are different, is the second pitch played higher or lower than the first? So I'm going to assume that most of us do have that ability to some degree, because that's the reality. Most people do have the ability to say, that second pitch was higher when I played. Or if I went in the opposite direction, that the second pitch was lower. All right, so back to pitch matching. We've got C, we've got C sharp. Let's try D. I was working with a student on pitch matching the other day, and they were so surprised by how close these pitches are to one another. And what we ended up kind of having as our helpful thing was you're almost singing the same pitch. Almost. Because these pitches we've sung so far, C, and then C sharp, and now we're going to sing D. They're all what we call a semitone or a half step away from one another. And in Western music and on a piano or a keyboard like I'm using, there is no note in between those two. In fact, that's how you can define a semitone or a half step is if you play any key on the keyboard, any random key, and then you play the very next key to it, whether it's a white key or a black key. So I play that note, and then right next to it, that would be going lower or down. Or if I play the very next pitch to it going up or higher, that's what we call a semitone or a half step. And there's literally not a key in between. So that's how close the pitch is. It is possible to sing or play on another instrument, what you might call a quarter tone or something smaller than a semitone, but at least on the piano and in most styles of Western contemporary singing, we're not singing anything uh, smaller than a semitone. Okay, so you sang C, C sharp. Let's try for D. And again, listen, sing in your head, then hum. The singing in your head piece is very, very important because that's actually when your vocal folds are adjusting for the pitch. Your vocal folds adjust in length and thickness, um, but mostly we think of pitch being controlled by the length of your vocal folds. They stretch out longer and sometimes, most of the time, thinner when you're singing higher, and they relax or they shorten when you're singing lower. How do we use the app? So Sing True, I'm hoping that was the app that I meant to recommend. Let's see. Yeah. So Sing True, I'm not gonna go over that because I don't have a way to screen share, but I recommended Sing True a little bit earlier, to work on the basics of ear training. So identifying whether the pitch 2 pitches are higher or lower. So anyways, download that, play around with it. I think it's pretty self-explanatory if you download it. Um, anyways, okay, back to it. So we're singing D4 or D3. Listen, sing in your head, then hum aloud. Oh, thanks, Kevin. Arpeggio. Good to know. Are you able to sing these pitches right away? Or is it taking you a little bit? Where some people run into trouble with pitch matching is when they exit what's a comfortable range for them. So humming you can't really go wrong with, but I do recommend trying out different vowels or sounds if you're having a hard time matching pitch, but you feel like you should be able to sing that note. For example, we're not going for something crazy low. I can't sing that, not never, or crazy, crazy high. Okay. If we're working within like a medium range for your voice and you feel like I should be able to hit this, let me demonstrate what sometimes will happen. So, everybody, let's attempt to sing A4. I'm going to play it. And here's what might be happening. You might be going, ah, ah, and you're thinking you can't hit that note because you can't reach it in your chest voice or your speaking voice. Uh, the reality is, I can hit that note, and probably you can too. Most people can. Uh, but you might have to approach it differently. So, if instead of just singing this open ah, you give me a high pitched woo-hoo sound, woo-hoo. Now it is very easy to reach that pitch and go even higher. Woo-hoo! So sometimes you need to change your tactic. That in particular, we're going for in what would be called a head voice or a falsetto function or mode of singing. But I'm throwing that out there because that's a very, very common issue with pitch matching. You might be running into difficulty not because your ear is bad and not because you can't match pitch, but just because the technique that you're using to produce that pitch is not working. So, probably the easiest, I think, modes to wrap your head around. Um, Humming is always good, and ooh is usually good. And ooh, when it is time to transition or switch into head voice, will allow you to do that pretty easily. So, if you were singing ooh the whole time, ooh, 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 much easier than if I was going, hey, 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 and I'm going flat or under the note, and I'm not able to reach that pitch. Hey, can't do it. Now I can, and it's easy. So ooh might be a good vowel to use sort of across the board. But just keep that in mind. If you're having trouble, but you feel like, no, I should be able to sing this, switch up the vowel or the syllable. All right. So, next step, now that we've matched just individual pitches, let's get a pattern going. So, a very easy pattern to start with would be a 1, 2, 3, 2, 1 pattern. These, if I ever throw out numbers or if any other teacher throws out numbers, usually what they're talking about are scale degrees. And 1 would be the lowest. As you increase in number size, you're going higher. So, for example, if I'm in the key of C, C is my 1, D is my 2, E is my 3, and so on. So you could say this scale as C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Or you could say it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or start over at 1 since the scale repeats. But if I ever, post a warm up or if anyone else does that and they use numbers, usually that's what they mean. And it's important for you to understand that because that tells you, okay, if my pattern is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm starting low, I'm ending high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or let's say it's 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, like the pattern I just proposed. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. My 1 is the same pitch starting and ending. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Back to the note I started on. 3 is my highest pitch. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. And Mr. Samurai Charles says, I think it depends on where you are on the piano. Please explain. I would love to know what you're referring to. Okay, cool. So let's try this. We're singing on numbers if that helps you. But if it doesn't help you, you can sing on a vowel or a syllable. And I'm going to give you every pitch you're about to sing so that you can check your pitch accuracy with the chromatic tuner. The pitches are C, D, E, D, C. So you're walking up the keyboard. If you still have virtual piano open, then you'll see, okay, I'm walking up C, D, E, and back down D, C. Whether I am singing in the 4th octave or the 3rd, those pitches are right next door to one another. So we're not jumping around, we're just stepping. So give that a try as slowly as you need to. You're starting here or here. Listen on the piano one time. Now sing with the piano. Ready, sing. Can you tell if you're matching pitch with the piano, singing in tune? You might be matching sometimes and be off at other times, and that's why it's important that you know the pitch letter names that you're supposed to be singing and that you're checking that against the chromatic tuner. All right, we're going to do the same pattern, but 1 half step higher. When a voice teacher is leading you through a warm-up, this is what they'll do. And that little ba is them changing keys or moving you into a new key. So whereas we started C, D, E, D, C, then I moved us to the key of C sharp or D flat. The pattern, the melodic pattern is the same. So we're still going to sing 1. Yep, there we are. 1, but now my pitches are D flat, E flat, F, E flat, D flat. Or you might see it as C sharp, D sharp, E sharp or F, D sharp, C sharp. The nice thing about the tuner is that it has both. I know virtual piano only shows up in sharps unless maybe you can adjust that. Let's see. No, it doesn't look like it's an option. So it's showing up in sharps. So in that case, even though this is incorrect scale-wise, you're looking for C sharp, D sharp, F, D sharp, C sharp. Technically, we'd spell that as E sharp, but I digress. Okay, Mr. Samurai Charles was saying, oh, when using techniques to match the pitch example, when using ooh for head voice, yeah, for sure. So I mentioned ooh because it works in general with most singers. Ooh is a very head voice friendly vowel. It's a narrow vowel, similar to E. So wee or woo are typically pretty easy for folks. When you're getting to the extreme ends of your range, you might try something more open, something more like ah instead. But if you're staying in a pretty comfortable medium range, I like ooh. Of course, use what works for you. And humming is usually also good. So that'll work too. Okay, so anytime you have a warm up, you're typically not just singing one pitch, you're singing more than one. So that's why we're adding on. We learned this 1, 2, 3, 2, 1 pattern, and we started in the key of C and we moved it to the key of C sharp or D flat. So now your pitches again are D flat, E flat, F, E flat, D flat, or if you're looking on virtual piano, C sharp, D sharp, F, D sharp, C sharp. So listen once and then join. And sing. Let's do one more. If this was a continuous warm-up, you would hear this. The little key change or modulation, as we might call it. So your new pitches, remember the pattern's staying the same, but the pitches are different because we're in a new key. So D, E, F sharp, E, D. Listen once, sing in your head. Sing aloud. Good. Quick water break. If you have your water, take a break. I mentioned the numbers because it's important to understand that in any vocal exercise or warm up, that's how it works. You have a pattern that stays the same, and then you just keep changing keys. So usually, okay, we've done a 1, 2, 3, 2, 1 pattern. Let's change it up now. Let's go 1, 3, 1. So now we're skipping over 2. You're singing D, F sharp, D. Give it a try. Listen first. And sing. Walking down. Now we're looking for C sharp or D flat, F. Back to C sharp or D flat. Listen first. And sing. Now we're back in the key of C. Your pitches are C, E, C. Listen first. And sing. Good. So your pattern Maybe it's a little bit wider. Maybe it's 1, 5, 1. The same principle applies here. So you're walking through a major scale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're stopping there 1, 5, 1, and back to the note you started on. By the way, that major scale, it's pretty familiar to someone who grew up listening to a lot of Western music, but it might not be familiar if you didn't. So, a song that actually teaches that is the Do Re Mi song from The Sound of Music. So they're singing Do, a deer, a female deer, Re, a drop of golden sun, Mi, a name I call myself. And they're just gradually progressing up the scale. Do, Re, Mi. And it continues do re mi fa sol la ti do. So that system is called solfege. It's how I learned to read music, so I'm partial to it. But it's the same idea if you're going to use numbers instead. So do re mi could be 1, 2, 3, and that's what we've been using today. Okay, cool. So let us pause for a second. Let's think where we should go from here. Okay, here's where we should go from here. Um, Sometimes you are singing and you don't have anything to match. This is usually what happens when you sing a song. So if we're singing a song like Can't Help Falling in Love with You, you don't have playing. You don't have wise men say. No, you have this. And you need to have already memorized the melody. Wise men say. So when it gets to the point of you singing a song, pitch matching is past. Where pitch matching comes in for learning songs is when you still have the singer to sing along with. So that's what you're matching. You're not matching the instruments. And this is something I see happen every now and then with singers is they're used to matching pitch and they can match with the singer. But when the singer disappears, they get lost. So they've been singing along with Elvis or Haley Reinhart or Keena Grannis, whoever's version of Can't Help Falling in Love with You you enjoy. And then they try it with a karaoke track and they get lost and they go, I don't know where to sing. Because the information about the pitch and the melody that I was relying on is gone. So here are a few tips if you find yourself in that position. If you can match another voice, but when that voice goes away, you're like, I'm lost. Um, so my first tip is look up the sheet music. And you don't need to read sheet music in order for this to be helpful for you. It doesn't even have to be in the correct key. If you're not reading the music, it doesn't even have to be in the right key. But if you look up, for example, I'm taking a very well-known song because I know we'll be able to find sheet music easily. I'm looking up Can't Help Falling in Love, sheet music, PDF. And the first one that comes up for me is Elvis Presley, Can't Help Falling in Love, PDF from ladieschoice.net. I will copy that link because probably based on our Google search history, you might have something else pop up. So there you go. Open it up. This is the sheet music for Can't Help Falling in Love. Now you're going to see, okay, it starts, this is in a different key than I was singing in. This starts in the key, or on F. Wise men say only fools rush in. I can't sing this low. But even if I'm not singing in that key, let's say I'm still singing in the key of C, doesn't matter. This gives me a visual map of the melody. You can see, So I'm going to go back to the key of C because that's where my voice is comfy. Wise men say. You can see there's a relatively big jump between wise and men. And then you can see that say is the same pitch as wise. Wise men say, wise say, same pitch. What we're looking at here are the note heads. There's a note head and a stem. You don't need to worry about the stem. Just look at where that note head is. And the note head could be white, as in wise men and say, or it could be filled in black, as in only. But take a look here and see you have a really handy map of the melody. Wise men say only fools rush in. You can see here, so you're going to have pitches on spaces and on lines. If you see a note head on a space and then on the very next line, or on a line in the very next space, that means they're pitches that are right next to one another. So you're not jumping like you were. Wise men say. So look at say only fools. It's walking up and then walking back down. Fools rush in. What happens after that big jump? In. But I can't help. Oh man, this is a perfect example. Oh, I love this. Okay, so look at from but I can't help falling in. It's all just walking up the scale. But I can't help falling in. And then we turn around. Love with you. Such a good example. Yeah. And this is so helpful for you because then you know, okay, there's a big jump. Fools rush in, but once I get to but, I'm stepping up little bit by bit. There's no big jumps there. Questions. 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 By the way, in 8 minutes, there's nothing but Q&A. So we'll keep walking through the sheet music together, but I'm just throwing it out there. Pitch Casualty was asking, can't you work off the beat? I don't know what you mean by that. And Joshua will get to your questions as well at Q&A time. Okay, so this is your first step. If you are a person who struggles to sing with a karaoke track, this is your first step. Every time, look up the sheet music. And you don't have to purchase sheet music. I promise if the song is popular enough, you will be able to find it. I always just include PDF when I'm Googling. So title of song, sheet music, PDF. You'll be able to find it. One of the websites I use the most is sheetmusic-free.com. You have to click through a few pages to get to the point where you can download the music, but I've been successful getting even new stuff on there. I was working on a song from Encanto earlier with a student, and we were able to find a free version of that sheet music. So check that out. And Kevin is saying, I use piano covers to help match pitch. Yay! So Kevin, that was my very next tip. Okay, so you found sheet music. You have this visual map or guide to the melody. You're spending a lot of time singing along with the singer and matching their pitch. Next step. Oh, Mr. Samurai was asking, can you re-explain how to look for sheet music? I'll type it in the chat. And then let me get that website for you as well. You could also go directly here. And then Kevin, you and I are on the same page. Whoa, so sorry. Same page, my friend. Sorry to scare you with that accidental keyboard. I'm just going to turn the volume down on the keyboard so that doesn't happen again. Very next step. after you feel like, yes, I've memorized this song, I'm ready to start working toward the karaoke track, but let's say you tried and it didn't go well. Search for an instrumental cover. Kevin recommends piano covers. I would say perfect violin cover, flute cover. I don't care what it is. But the whole point there is if you look up, for example, Can't Help Falling in Love with You piano cover, that means that the pianist is going to be playing what was no in response to. The pianist is going to be playing the melody. So they'll be playing other stuff too, but they'll be going, "Oh, I turned my keyboard down." They'll be playing the melody still pretty obviously. I'm not a pianist, so I'm not gonna do that. Um, okay. Mr. Samurai Charles is saying the notes jump on the sheet music. They do it first. The point where I was the spot I was pointing out as just step 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 up was but I can't help. Also, take note, you're not looking at everything on there. You're only looking at the note heads on that first uh treble clef staff that the words are directly underneath. So what you have as you're looking at the sheet music, Can't Help Falling in Love, moderately slow. You have a treble clef and a bass clef. They're tied together with that little bracket. That's the piano part. Okay, so the first line you're looking at is just piano. There's no words for you to sing. You come in on that second system, your melody is the top line, always. Wise men say there's stuff going on underneath, but that's the piano. You don't worry about that. Okay. So that's always how sheet music is written, unless you're like in a choral situation, but you're going to see your lyrics and above that, that's your melody only. Okay. You can't sing all of that piano part, anyways, because that would require you to sing multiple pitches at once, which some people can do, but not very many. Um, Okay, so that is the next step. You've got your sheet music. You've learned matching pitch with the singer, totally fine. And then you are looking up a piano cover or instrumental cover of some kind to um, still match the pitch. Oh, Kevin is saying melody is played in the right hand. So it certainly could be. Yeah, yeah. If you're a piano player and can play all of those things at once, that's true. But this is just sheet music we're using. This isn't necessarily representative of what you're going to hear in most karaoke tracks. But you're right. The melody is played in the right hand. You see those, kind of descending arpeggios, but you also see doubled those half notes. Da, 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 da. I wonder if that continues throughout the entirety of the piece. Looks like it does. I wonder if it does for the like a river flows. Yeah, it does. Good point, Kevin. All right. So the other Hum Music was saying top line is melody to song and notes chords below are accompaniment. Correct. Yeah. So and when I say top line, ignore the very, very first system because that's only piano. But below that, we have top line melody. The lyrics are right below it. And then you have treble clef and bass clef. And you can tell that they're tied together with that bracket that extends. That's your piano part. If I was playing this, if I was accompanying someone, I would not play the melody in the right hand. I would just maybe every now and then, but typically your karaoke track or your instrumental is not also doubling the melody because you're singing the melody. They don't need to provide it. Okay, so kind of last step in there, and we're ready for Q&A. So Joshua, I will start with your questions. But if you have other questions, people throw them in the chat. The other steps I would recommend kind of throughout this process are memorizing where a melody sits in your voice and memorizing the distance between pitches. So even if we didn't have the sheet music, I could still memorize if I'm matching pitch, I could still memorize that wise men say. I could memorize, okay, that's a relatively big jump, and I'll file that away. I'll also memorize where the melody sits in my voice. What I mean by that is, does it feel low? Does it feel high? Does it feel medium for me? For example, I think I changed keys on you. Yeah, I did. Sorry. Okay, so back to the key of C for me. Wise men say only fools rush in, but I would memorize that but I feels like low chest voice. Because it is for me. It might not be for you. Um, but that's another piece of information I would file away to help me when the melody is gone and all I have is the karaoke track. Okay. So, all of those pieces working together, I'm still going to use the sheet music if it helps me. I'm going to remember how big of jumps those felt like. I'm going to remember what area of my voice am I using for this, for the verse or for the chorus, whatever. Um, and hopefully adding those extra steps in between will help you when you make the leap, because it is quite a leap to go from you're singing along with a singer to it's just you and the instrumental. That can be overwhelming. So if you struggle with that, you are certainly not alone. And last little tip, I need to remember the website. Okay, is vocalremover.org. The only downside of this website is that it doesn't have a built-in feature for you to download the track. But what this allows you to do is to take a track, upload it, and then it splits out the vocal and the instrumental. And what you can do is adjust the volume of each. Um, so if I'm learning this, say I love the Haley Reinhart version, I want to sing with her, I do that. But then as I'm getting more confident with the melody and wanting to take over as the lead singer instead of just singing along, what I'll do is I'll drag that volume fader down on her vocal. So I'll put her at like 50% or 25%. So she's still there, but I'm starting to take the lead a little bit. Okay, so I'm walking back. Joshua has some issues with mix. I was able to raise my mix to D5, but it's very heady from B4 and above, whereas everything from F4 to A4 is lighter than other tenors, still strong and as loud as a belt. So Joshua, I would say that is quite normal. For tenors, I would say a good goal pitch for you for a strong chesty belty mix would be C5. That's kind of a note, like a money note that tenors kinda go for. But I would say above C5, it's very, very normal and typical for it to start taking on more of a head voice quality or a head dominant mix. Um, so I would say, based on what usually works for folks, is to start letting your vowel widen a little bit. So whatever mix friendly syllable you've been using, let's say you're singing on, something like ma or ba or one, something kind of neutral. Something you could try in that range as you're approaching B4. Let's say you're singing, here. So this would be going to the G sharp, and you're singing 1 1 1 1 1, and you find that you're flipping soon 1 1 1, or kind of stepping into more of a head voicey sound. See what happens if you let the vowel widen ever so slightly. So instead of 1 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and see if that allows you to take it a little bit higher, than you have been. But I would say, yeah, the zone that you're working on, A4, first get B flat 4, feeling good, then B4, and then C5. But I would say above that, it's very normal and typical for that to be more head voicey. Um, couldn't you use Audacity or something to record it through the sound card? Sure, sure. I'm just assuming for most folks, you could even record via Zoom. So Pitch Casualty was mentioning Vocal Remover, how to get that recording. When I'm working with a student, I will just be, sometimes already recording the lesson for them, or they're recording it via Zoom, and I screen share, I check share audio, and I get the recording of the audio that way. Or sometimes, so anytime you're recording on Zoom, once the meeting is done, it'll take a second to process, and then you'll have an MP4, meaning the video file, and there'll also be an MP3. So what you could do is just use that feature. I've done this before. I'll like start a new recording just when the song starts and stop it when the song ends, and then I'll, save that specific MP3 as like, this is the karaoke track, that we created. There are other ways to remove vocals though. So the thing I like about Vocal Remover and why I recommended it is because it allows you, without any software, to adjust the volume of the vocal in relation to the instrumental. But there are other apps and certainly software that you could use to do the same thing. And if you Google, remove vocal from MP3, you'll be able to find other things. Um, okay. Hum music. How do I find starting notes of a song when chordal accompaniment is played? If I get nervous, sometimes I can't locate my starting note live with the accompanist. Okay. So if this is in a situation like, if this is for an audition, or maybe not for a performance, but if it's for an audition, it is well within your rights to ask the accompanist, "Hey, can you play my starting pitch?" And if they're nice, they might even kind of play it louder when they're playing your intro. Um, but I would say my advice to you is understand what the pitch is. So let's say we're singing. Okay, so if it's at a performance, then this is like in your prep leading up to that. So let's say I'm singing Can't Help Falling in Love, and the intro is like, uh, uh, oh gosh. Oh, here it is. I can't help. Da, 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 da. I don't know these chords. Okay. Let's say your intro goes, can you follow, or can you pick out what the melody would be on top of that? Um, or let's say, let's think of a different example. Essentially, what I'm trying to say, and doing a very bad job at it, is um, determine what the starting pitch is, and then see if you can hear in the accompaniment where you hear that pitch, or where you hear a pitch close to it that can then get you to the pitch. I'm trying to think of a good example for you. Favorite things, as in like Sound of Music favorite things? Favorite things. Let's take a look. Okay. So for my favorite things, I'm taking a look at this piece of music. Hopefully that comes up easily for you. And we can see in the left hand, We have C and G. It should be 1 octave lower. We have, I don't have this pitch on my piano. Okay. And then we have in the right hand, yeah. Oh, sorry, that should be a sharp. So again. Okay, what I would be listening for, because you start on rain, you start on an E. I can hear that da da da, the very end of that da 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 is 1 whole step above your starting note. Da 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 rain. So you're really listening to that last line. Da 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 raindrops on. Another way to do it would be the very first line that you hear is going up to an E. Ba, ba, ba. You're an octave lower than that. So, rain, you have in your head, raindrops on. So that's a good example. It wouldn't be super intuitive, like exactly what pitch to start on. But if you understand what's happening in the intro related to the pitch that you start on, then you can find some link, whether it's the note itself, as in there's the E. So if I can find that an octave lower, rain, rain, then I've got it. Or again, I'm listening to that descending G, F sharp, and I sing E. Hope that helps. Okay. Kevin was asking, does mixed voice need to sound nasal? No, mixed voice does not need to sound nasal. However, in general, I would say mixed voice usually sounds a little bit brighter than a full chest voice sound. And the reason I think people think it needs to or does sound nasal is because often we use nasal bratty sounds to help us find that balance. For example, we use sounds like nay and na and ma, things like that, which have this really bright nasal quality. So if you find that every mixed voice exercise you use uses that nasal sound, consider repeating with less nasality. So for example, if your pattern is like a nay, 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 okay, very nasal, very bratty. Instead of nay, try na, as in net. Na, 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 na. Maybe it's still a little bit too nasal for your liking. Try na, 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 na. But you'll notice still there's more nasality, if you want to call it that. I would just call it brightness. There's more brightness there than if you're just hey and trying to stay in chest voice. And that's why we can't stay in chest voice, because it gets a little dull and shouty and we can't get quite as high. So, and Joshua is saying my mix is just not weighty. It's effortless and clean, a little light. Okay. Yeah, so I would say perhaps for Joshua and anyone else with that concern, something with a little bit more depth. So I really like the syllable one instead of these sounds like nay, nah. If you need nay or nah, use it. It's really, really great. But try in that same zone singing instead one, 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 one. And then again, Joshua, we're letting the vowel open up as we get higher and we feel like we're kind of in danger of cracking. Also let the jaw drop. If you're holding your mouth relatively closed, 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. You're going to sound more nasal and you're going to eventually flip into head voice anyways. So 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. Let the mouth widen. 1 1 1 1 1 and keep that going up, to the sky. Whew. Okay. That was fun. Fun stuff. I have to let you go. If you're a 30-day singer student, there's a feedback session later today. It's going to be 6 p.m. my time. So 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I will see you all not next week. Oh, usually it's next week. I will see you not next week, but the following. That is scheduled for Thursday, the 21st. And the topic is more pitch matching intonation, but more focused within the major scale. So today we spent quite a long time just matching pitch, single pitches and matching another voice type thing. Next time we'll jump around a bit more. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.